Alright guys, it is Monday, March 29th, 2021. Today marks 30 days I have left to finish my 55 Belair 2-door hardtop for Daryl Starbert's car show in Tulsa, which is on April 30th through May 2nd in Tulsa. So I've switched from a blue Sharpie to a red Sharpie because I'm pretty much in the danger zone now. I have 1 month to finish the car. So I've been asked by several people lately, do you think you'll make it? And the answer is absolutely I do. To me, I am well over the halfway point on this car. It's just down to painting, color sanding, buffing, and bolting some big body panels on, getting the upholstery put in, so I'm not worried. But in the event that I don't make it to the car show with the car, I'm not going to cry about it, because I look at it this way. I always put ridiculous deadlines on cars sometimes to make either a cruise or a car show or something. Sometimes I make it, sometimes I don't. In the event that I don't make it, that car is hell of a close to being done. So that's what I'm looking at. I've been working on this car for 8 years. It's time to get it done. So, yeah, it would suck if I don't make the show, but I'm not going to worry about it. I'm still going to go to the show. I'm going to try to have the car done. And I absolutely, right now, 30 days left, think I can make it. But I am having an issue, but I think I figured it out. Now, another thing that has come to my attention, I've had a few people tell me that my videos are too long. They can't watch the entire video. So I'm going to do this little segment for you impatient guys, since this is the first of the video. So here we go. All right, guys, today is March 29th, 2021. Today marks 30 days I have left to finish my 55 2-door hardtop Belair for Daryl Starbert's car show. This is the car here. It's not done yet. Thanks for watching. So there's the video for you impatient guys. So you guys can go ahead and go. The other guys that like my videos can stick around and listen to me talk like I normally do. So now I'll run you through what I'm having an issue with. So I've been talking about it in my videos about getting trash. I'm getting dust particles and stuff in my parts really, really bad. I have painted, I could not tell you how many cars I've painted in this garage since I moved in here in 2001. I used to paint on average about 3 cars a year in here. I can't do that anymore. My body just won't let me do it. But I have never had the trash and dust problems in paint that I have had lately, especially on this car. So I built this paint booth. If you caught that in the last video, I had this paint booth built here out of plastic and wood framing, which I tore down today because I was pissed off really bad and throwing shit. You missed a good temper tantrum. Anyway, I sprayed a part, and it looked like I didn't even tack it off. It had that much trash in it. It was bad. It was very bad. It is, without exaggeration, it looked like somebody cut a board with a skill saw, and I had the part right there when I was painting, and that stuff just went on. That is no joke how bad it was. Very bad. So at that point, I wiped down the gas door, which is the gas door for the car right here. I'm trying to respray it. Now I've got the inside already painted, so I've taped it all off, and I'm just doing the outer edge and the face of it. And I have to put several coats on so I can sand and buff it so it'll match the rest of the car exterior. So I'm holding on to that in my hand with a rubber glove on. I'm using these rubber gloves that I got at Walmart, which I used to always get my rubber gloves at the paint store, but the last time I went I forgot to get them, so I just went down to Walmart and got them because they're cheaper. So anyway, rubber glove's rubber glove, right? Anyway, so I'm holding on to that gas door on the bracket here because it's taped off. So at that point, I can hold the part in my left hand and I can paint it with my right, and I can turn that gas door no matter where I need it to spray it. And then at that point, I can hang it up on a wire, which is the way I like to paint parts. So I wiped it down with a reducer. I tacked it off again with a tack rag and shot it again, same thing. So after the second time, I wiped it down again with a reducer on a rag, wiped it off, and then I got a brand new tack rag out, which is the same tack rags I've used for probably 25, 26 years. Got one out of the package, wiped it off with it, shot the first coat on, same thing. When I tacked that off, I noticed the hair on my arm standing up. So I think it's electrostatic charging, if that's the right term for that. I'm just a dumb redneck in a garage. Anyway, I think it's getting a static cling to it, and it's causing the dust to go to it like a magnet. So I don't know if it's the gloves, Maybe it's the, because I use a tack rag and I will put it in a Ziploc bag to keep it, you know, from getting contaminated. Maybe the plastic bag's charging that with static. Maybe it's these rubber gloves and me holding onto the part is doing it. I don't know. Here's the funny thing. I painted my core support and core support baffles. There is probably 3 pieces of dust particle in all of those 3 parts. These turned out really, really nice. Those were on metal fixtures, steel fixtures, setting on the concrete, and I painted them. So I think I figured out that the parts I'm holding on to, whether it be the rubber gloves, which may be like somebody taking a balloon and rubbing it on their hair and their hair sticking up, maybe that's what's going on. Don't know. Not a professional. So all I know is back in my days when I've been in and out of quite a few collision shops, you know, new cars, they have rubber bumper covers, urethane, you know, they have plastic all over them. So they do have a problem with static, you know, and dust. So you have to use anti-static wipes or a spray or something. The last place I worked at had some kind of spray. But anyway, I've never used anything like that. This is the way I've always done it. It's just wipe it down with Sim-Solve on a rag and tack it off and shoot it. And it's just not working out for me lately. So if anybody's got any ideas, but I am kind of certain now that after my hair stood up on my arm when I'm wiping that part, it's probably charging the part. So anyway, I ordered some Davilbus anti-static wipers a while ago. So I ordered a bunch of them. And they're kind of pricey for what they are. But all I got left is a few more parts of the car and the body panels. And then at that point, it's just color sand and buff, bolt parts on, get the side glass in it, the wing windows and all that stuff, you know. So, and I got to finish my upholstery. But anyway, I feel like I'm over the hump. So I'll run you through the radiator here real quick before I forget. So I talked about this yesterday. I really wanted to powder coat this, but I never took it anywhere and had it done, and I just don't have the money to do it right now anyway, so I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to leave it raw. No big deal. I know a couple of guys, and I've done it myself. I've tried painting these, and it never stays on there. These 55s, they have big grill, you know, big wide mouth grill. So you get all these bugs and stuff that fly in there, and it just chips that paint all to hell. So to me, powder coating would be the way to go. But anyway, it's just going to stay raw. But I'd planned on doing this black so it would look more original and not be so in your face through the grill. But that's why I have the Billet Specialties cap in black. So anyway, it's just going to have to work. But at least in this video, you can see I got the radiator in, the hoses are on, the electric fan's on, my fan shroud. I've got all my metal lines plumbed for the overflow tank, and it's turning out pretty sweet. I can actually give some of you guys a tip if you're interested. Before you paint your core support, check your fit of your new radiator to your core support, because sometimes these flanges are bent. And if you have this all fancy painted and you go to put that part in that radiator in there, it might strip the paint right off of that, like scratch the fire out of it. So test fit your radiator first, because you may have to use some duck-bill pliers and, you know, bend your flange out a little bit. Ideally, you want to go a little bit out from it. Not a whole lot, but, you know, go out a little bit, because the radiator will, when you tighten it up, it'll pull it in. So you definitely want it out enough that you don't mess up your paint. Now, on my instance, this radiator was actually narrower by just a little over 1/8 of an inch than my flanges. So what I did was I used a piece of 1/8 inch angle iron that I cut this side down. I cut like a little bit over half of it off. So it acts as a spacer, but it also acts, I drilled and tapped it, and I've got my Billet Specialties line clamps on there to hold that overflow tube on there. So, and this was all I had. That was the only piece I had. It was just that length. So down here for the other bolt, I used a stainless steel sleeve that I polished and put in there. It's 1/8 inch as well, so that way it kept the flange even. But so it's like a double duty kind of a deal there. And this is why that I clearanced my core support down here with a piece of tubing. I actually notched out the core support, put a piece of tubing in there that I cut in half, welded it all, and then ground it, and then body worked it. So now it's all, it looks like it came that way, and it's basically, it'll just keep the coolant line or the puke tank line from, you know, banging on the metal. Basically just a little bit of clearance. So this is a Billet Specialties Overflow. I do like these because the fasteners hide on the back side of the core support. so you don't have any visible fasteners on anything. But anyway, it has 2 ports on it. One is an in and one is a vent. So the in I have coming in and it goes up to it, and then the out goes up here. It's just steel line that I've bent, and I've drilled and tapped my core support and put another Billet Specialties clamp on there, and it just goes straight down to right there and stops. So it'll basically vent right there, or if it ever pukes, it'll puke out straight down on the ground. But anyway, it's just what I did. I did a fan shroud myself out of steel for my electric fan, and I've got it attached with ARP 12 points, 1032s. I got 5 on each side. And the bad part is those 1032s, the shortest they make is 1/2 inch, and the flange is not that deep in that radiator. So I drilled and tapped the flange here of the radiator back here. So I had to cut down 10 of those little tiny bolts and, you know, work the end a little bit to get them to go in there and not go into the core of the radiator. So that was a lot of work just doing that, but I did that years ago. All this stuff was mocked up a long time ago, like probably 2014 or something. But anyway, it's turning out pretty good, and it is the only thing keeping me from putting distilled water and antifreeze in it right now is my heater box assembly, which is now painted, and I may actually, after dinner, I'm thinking about assembling that with a new heater core, new valve, and all that stuff. That way I can install the heater box and then go ahead and put my 2 new heater hoses on, and then I can put coolant in the engine. So that'd be kind of nice. So next time I start it, I can actually let it sit there and run. So it'd be pretty awesome. Another tech tip for some of you guys that may not know. If you're running an aluminum radiator in a driver, be sure and use distilled water. You do not want to use tap water or out of a garden hose in an aluminum radiator, because it will corrode the shit out of it. It has something to do with a electrolysis or something, and I guess distilled water won't do it. You know, like drag cars, they can only run water in their cars, but because you know, if it pukes on the track, it won't. It'll be easier to clean up, basically. But anyway, daily driver cars, you need to make sure you have distilled water. Don't just use your garden hose, because it will corrode the crap out of that aluminum. And the reason I know that is because when I bought a radiator, aluminum radiator, a long time ago, I think it was a Griffin radiator that I had bought. It had a sheet in there, and it told about that. So, which I didn't know. I've always used a garden hose and antifreeze together. But on this car, I went down to Walmart and I bought some distilled water, some gallons. I got 3 gallons of it, because this stuff's, it's under $1 for a gallon, I think. It used to be. Watch it be like $3 now. Hell, I don't know. But anyway, guys, that's pretty much it. I'm going to cut off here. I don't know if I mentioned it or not, but I do want to say that since it's 30 days now is all I have left to finish the car, I'm going to take you guys for one hell of a ride along with me. I'm going to post a video every day. Now, there may be days that I may not get time to put one up, so don't get all pissed off. But there may be days I throw in 2 videos. It just depends. Like, I may do one early in the morning on a part I'm going to put on, and then the evening when I upload a video, it may be one of that part on and done. So I've got a couple more tech videos I want to do, some stuff that I'm going to put on the car, like the flippers. For a 2-door hardtop, they have flippers up here that kick open when you open your door, and then when you close your door, the flipper's supposed to come down. A lot of guys will build these cars, and when you close the door, the flipper stays up at the back. There's a trick to that, and I learned the hard way. So I'm going to run you through that when I get to that point. I still have to rebuild my flippers as well. So anyway, guys, 30 days, may do a video every day. Probably majority will be every day. Maybe every once in a while I'll do 2. So if you're interested in going along for the ride and being here with me as I, progress with the car, I'll post them up for you to do that. So if you haven't subscribed, please do that. I am still trying to reach that 1,000 subscriber mark, and I just haven't made it. Started my YouTube channel in 2017. I don't know how to edit videos yet, and that's probably what's hindering me, but at least my videos are kind of clear now since I'm using a GoPro instead of a cell phone, so it's not Blair Witchy like this. Anyway, tomorrow, new day. Today I think I'm done, but I'll go down and pick up the anti-static wipes in the morning and see how it goes. But anyway, thanks for watching. Please subscribe, tag, share, like, all that good stuff.